Hello, beloveds. Ishte Awul here to do something I don't do often, do something that I only do when I feel so called. And I've been really feeling called to do a collective reading, not just a reading, but a channeled message session, channeling being one of my modalities, if you don't know that. And so I also tapped in to see what would be the best reading to do and who is this more focused on specifically. Even though it's a collective reading, really, if it resonates with you, great, stay. I welcome you to. Collective is going to tap into all of our lives in some way, shape, or form. This reading will tap you in some way, some crevice. But the specifics of what this or who this reading is for are for those who are in tune with the cycles of the earth, who are into the seasons of change, even more specifically to those who identify as highly sensitive. Makes sense, right? You're highly sensitive, you're most likely in tune with the seasons of change, even if you don't know all of the terms or words that that is connected to. So this reading is for the collective for the first quarter of 2025. So January, February, March, and again, more specifically for those that are connected to the cycles of change, to the cycles of the earth, and those who are identify as highly sensitive in some way, shape, or form. So I realized in this last year, I have really learned that as a highly sensitive person, I do best collective readings when I have had time to actually meditate on the message, meditate on the cards that are being pulled, and then come to the camera to do the reading. I'm just easily overstimulated, so I can't fully articulate the message if I haven't at first integrated some level of the message. So that's how I'm going to be doing my readings. And I may or may not go into trance at the end of this reading to channel. I've already channeled with a specific energy, and I was surprised to see who came through. And it was Persephone. I have connection to Persephone in some way, but I've never actually opened a channel for her to come through, but she came through and it was quite lovely to hear what she had to say. And maybe she'll have a way of saying that through me here on this recording. So kick back. This might take a moment. I tend to be a slower reader. I'm not very good at speaking quickly. And you can always just take this in parts if you want, but I'm going to do a full reading here. Might be 30 minutes long, just FYI. So I used a few decks that I enjoy working with, and I will show you the cards as I've pulled them. I felt called to pull cards um, for the top portion of the reading, being what divine energies of uh, for the sake of simplicity, of higher frequency, right, closer to source energy. Although, all things are source connected, so that's why I kind of don't like to go in that direction of using that terminology. But if we had to break it into the higher realms, the middle realm, and then the lower realm, um, not at all saying one is better than the other, but all really connected to source in some way. So I pulled cards to see what was coming through from the higher realms um, for the first quarter of 2025. Then I pulled some cards for the lower realms, which I like to refer to the underworld or the underbelly energy for us at the beginning of the year. And then I pulled tarot cards for what we will be meeting on a more day to day level, um, and how we can embrace those energies each month and what it is we're invited to let go of so we may elevate. or move closer to really where we're meant to go. So I'm going to show those cards as I read them to you and let you know what the message was that I had for all of us. And then I'll go into Persephone's message. So for the cards in the higher realms, I received the card Lucky and Divinity. And without really reading into the manual of these cards, I really just let whatever wanted to come through. And what I got was that, I guess what I feel called to describe as lucky, um, there's a misdefinition around lucky. It's almost, for a lot of the time we may think that lucky is, oh, that person's so lucky to have received that gift or get that promotion or have meet that partner. And I think it really gives us an excuse to not really connect or be in alignment. Because when we are in alignment, that luck happens more. When we're actually moving in alignment with what we're truly being called for, luck occurs more often, and we get to access magic more, what we define as magical or mystical or serendipity, fate, destiny, luck. So, what I'm getting from these cards is that in the first 3 months of 2025, we're going to have access to this luck. And divinity being the card here as representation of the divine, in my opinion. It could be divine love, but being in alignment with your soul's purpose and divine love, I find to be one and the same. So these two cards really complementing one another here, I find to say that what will be present for us from the guides, from those allies on the other side, is more of this alignment. We will have more availability, or perhaps it'll be more evident or more clear to us what is in alignment. So we may be more lucky. So the past 2 years, past year, I don't know, maybe the past decade, you have really developed more and more about what is in tune or in alignment with you, what serves you, and what causes more distress. And in the first 3 months, it will be very obvious to us what that is. And we can make a very informed and very somatic, meaning very much in the body, sense of this is in alignment. This is where I'm supposed to go. And that's wonderful. Isn't that quite powerful to have that accessible to us from the divine, from the other side? If you haven't already felt that, just know it's coming in those first 3 months of the year. We're going to have access to that. That will be at play at large for us, in our favor, really. So there's that. I'm going to move the cards aside here. In the underbelly, in the underworld, what I refer to here is in our subconscious. We can refer to it as in the subconscious realm of our own psyche and in the underworld realm of the collective consciousness. In the underworld realm of this planet, those are all, to me, connected. Okay, if you're connected to underworld work, you know that it is not just a psychological space. This is actually a place, a dimension that exists. And so, therefore, if it exists on a macro level, on a bigger level, it also exists in that micro level within us, again, the subconscious. So, what is going to be available to us in that realm is both spiritual cleansing and psychic was the other card. So what I got out of those two cards is, one, When we have to look at the other cards at the same time. When we are if we have more availability to choices that are within alignment, well, those choices are available to always, right? But when they are more evident to us, we're more conscious of, oh, this is more of what I'm meant to do. This is more in alignment of where I'm supposed to go. And we make a conscious decision. Now it's a choice, right? As opposed to, oh, I didn't know any better. This was my first time. I didn't get any intuitive hit about what I was supposed to do. I just used my best judgment, and therefore we can kind of live in ignorance. But when we are no longer in ignorance and we either have experience behind us or we have things that just energetically we can get a sense of, this is the better choice. This is what I'm really supposed to do. I know better. Then right before we make that decision, whether we choose to ignore the decision that is in alignment with us or choose the decision that we're in alignment with us, we're going to bump up against our shadow. Shadow is either going to be self-judgment for not taking the leap or going in the direction that we're called, or judgment that we did and what the hell were we thinking, or fears about what may happen in going into a new direction, fears about failing, fears of embarrassment, fears of taking up space, fears of, you know, not having self-love or self-compassion and trying to do something new, perhaps. So either way, when all of that, all the dust bunnies within our own psyche and our own underworld, our own subconscious, those patterns and fears that usually sit in the back, they start coming to the surface when we have a choice that is evident to us about which way we go. They will be, and they're always present, but they will be more present. And we have an opportunity for real deep spiritual cleansing. The dust bunnies rise and we get to clear it out when we make the choice of further alignment. And when we make those choices to further be aligned and then provide our egos evidence that we can survive those leaps and go into the direction that is there in alignment and we're caught by the universe, then we are cleansing our own selves of those doubts and also opening up more and leaning further into our own psychic faculties. We all have them. You've probably heard this. We all have access to these faculties within us. And some of us are born with just tapped in, and others need to work on it a little bit more. But with this reading, what we're saying is, well, if you do the cleansing, if you step in to the opportunity of getting rid of all that smoky dust bunny stuff in the corners and crevices of your psyche and subconscious, guess what? You get to strengthen your psychic faculties, whatever that might be. And that can work with your intuition. Those two can work together. So maybe you just are a person that just knows, right? Or, you know what? I get a feeling, an energetic feeling around people. So now you get to lean into that psychic faculty. Maybe it's a clairaudient. Maybe it's clairvoyant. Maybe you'll have more dreams or be connected more to your dreams or to your visions more in some way because you are doing the cleansing and stepping into the work. So that is what is accessible to us, which is really, really awesome. That's what's accessible to us in the first 3 months. So we have the over and the underworld. And what's occurring for us in the middle world, right, which is where we exist in this material realm, the first month, which was really nice to see in January, is that we would have the star. This is the umbrella energy of that first month. And if you're like me in the past year, 2 years, there's been a lot of crumbling, a lot of destruction, things falling apart, things having to die things having to either be redefined or let go of, any attachment of identity of who you think you are or who you were, having to let go of any attachments of what that might have been. Maybe an old vision needs to die and crumble. And now you've kind of been letting that happen, letting go of the grip. And in January, you get to see a new star, a new light, a new North Star in the sky. And now you have a sense of direction. There's no having to stand still and kind of just, I guess I got to see what else crumbles. Don't move too far. Save your energy kind of mentality. Not anymore. So, so I have to put my things down. I was having to take note. So that's the star energy that we have in January, which is really freaking fantastic. We're going to feel like, okay, all right, well, things may not be fully clear. I don't know. I may see a few steps in front of me right now, but I don't see the whole picture. So long as I keep my eye on that North Star, whew, thank goodness, because I didn't know what up was or down was or sideways. Now this energy begins to present itself for us, which is really, really absolutely fantastic. And so, to make the most of that, we are being asked to embrace the hermit. 9 card, also very much connected to the year that we're stepping into. 2025 is a 9 year, and this is the 9th major arcana card of the tarot deck. So, this is the energy we're actually being invited to step into already in January. Embrace that. So, what does this mean? This is a different kind of energy this year. Hermit typically says go back into the cave, reflect, and go really, really deep. And I think we've really done a lot of that. What I'm getting from this card this time with this reading is that we're being asked to, yes, self reflect as we move forward. No need to really rush exact. I mean, there's a sense of I know where I'm going. It's time to go and aim and shoot. I mean, I don't know. I'm an Aries, so when I see the green light, I'm like, let's go. Typically. So you can have some of that energy, but really, when I think about the Hermit card, I think a lot about, or I heard when I pulled this card, that it was about staying in your own lane. You're going to go do something, stay in your own lane about it. And the card that was here as the supporting card for this was the Page of Cups, and reversed. And so that's why it spoke to me about staying in your own lane, because the Page of Cups reversed is in the position of what we need to let go of, which really says we're being asked to let go of the role of somebody who is an infant stage of really getting to know their own desires, what they really want, what their calling is around heart-centeredness. And the universe is really saying, we don't need to be in that state anymore. You're not an infant when it comes to either this vision, this calling, this thing you may want to be doing, the energy you want to step into further, the person you want to become, even if it isn't just a career or like something that you want to present, but it's more about who do I really want to be? And you're not an infant around that idea anymore. So Hermit says, step into the state of, because Hermit is pretty strong energy too. It's the energy of somebody who, when you see the traditional card, it's an old man in a robe. So it's not like you haven't lived life. You've lived it. You've been through things. Now it's time to take conscious, mindful steps. And as you move forward, stay within your own lane. You don't need to assess other people's things, and you don't need to ask other people's opinions about what you're doing. You may not even have the urge to do that anymore. You might already get the sense of it now that it's like, I don't really need to ask. Or I do know, but maybe I need a little affirmation here, but I know where I'm going. And I don't need to ask and doubt myself. Instead, I can come back to center and assess myself. And that's what these two cards are really speaking about, I find, for January. When we move into February, I got the moon card reversed. And I almost wasn't even reading reverses today, but I was like, okay, well, Spirit really wants me to, because it's really important that it's this is a moon card still, even in its reversal. What I mean is the moon energy for February now, we're talking about February. Moon energy is really about, it's similar to the Hermit, where there's not a lot of light to let us see things fully and clearly. There's a lot of mystery in that card. There's a lot of mystery in the moon card. You can't really see what's happening. All you have is moonlight to really shed on the path, and you're trying to just, your senses really heighten in that. Your psychic senses might even heighten in that. You might have to lean into other things outside of what you can see clearly to make sense of where do I put my foot next step? Where do I step forward? Do I step backward? Do I go to the side? And really being in that but uncomfortable state of not knowing. But in February, it's reversed, which to me tells me there's still a sense of mystery, but a lot less. You can probably see, based on what you've acquired in the mystery of not knowing what is happening, that you have more of an informed decision of where you're going. So in February, it's about having the information within to really go forward. And kind of realizing, like, you know what, trusting that, you know what, I don't need to see the big picture. If anything, when I see the big picture, I might get really overwhelmed, especially as a highly sensitive person. Seeing the bigger picture can be so overwhelming, and I can really get into my head. So the moon card reversed tells me, okay, I don't have to see the big picture. I have an informed decision of where things are, where I want to go. I have a sense of it. And I can trust it. I can trust myself here in this energy. Um and I think that's quite powerful, because now it's almost like we're in a more comfortable state of this mystery. It's almost exciting when we don't really know all the answers, and we kind of live in this mysteriously magical space. To make the most of that energy, we're being asked to embrace the Six of Wands. To me, it says it's okay to celebrate the small things. It also tells me that we're moving out of a Five of Wands energy, which says we're expending our energy in places that don't really involve us. It's actually not really necessary. We might have been even bored, and then we spent energy here with other people or things that didn't really interest us, but we had nothing else really going on. Um, and so we kind of expend our energy in a way that it's not really useful, but then again, nothing was really calling us then. But the Six of Wands says, well, now there's some sense of direction, and you get to kind of celebrate the small steps. We're out of the space of expending energy where it doesn't belong, and being in a space of, actually, I know where I'm heading, and I got through the challenging spaces, and I get to kind of celebrate a little bit about where my energy is valued and where I want to continue to put my energy that is supporting the vision of where I'm going now. And letting go of the world. To me, the world speaks about endings. And to embrace this energy of, okay, not everything is such a mystery anymore. I know what's up. Even if it's just within my body, do I know that? Moon card reversed. And now I'm out of the struggle of kind of wasting my energy or not knowing where I'm going, to a place of, I know exactly where I'm going, even if it's just a feeling. and letting go of fear of things kind of coming to an end, or perhaps letting go of an ending. We might have spent a lot of time thinking about what came to an end. It's done. We already understand what came to an end. So in February, you're invited to, like, that's it. I learned enough about what came to an end, and I get to be in a celebration of moving forward into the Six of Wands energy that says we have overcome a challenge here, we know where we're going, and we know where we're celebrated. Even if it is within you, even if it is just you and your guides. But now you have a trusted group of powers that support you, and we can let go of whatever might have ended or has come to a close, because now we're heading to a new cycle. And then in March, it was interesting that we got the Three of Pentacles as the overarching energy. And I'm going to make this brief because the information for March was pretty straightforward. Three of Pentacles energy to me was telling me that we are going to be invited to examine how far we've come by March. And there's some pivoting to be done. Not necessarily a step back. It's a pivoting of where it is that we are looking, where we are heading. Not a step backwards, but instead moving some kind of direction and changing where we're going to lean towards. And it's not a step backwards, even though it might seem like it might be, but it's not. It's a pivot. You're not really losing anything. You actually have an opportunity to kind of clear before you move into a state of harmony. So this does speak of disharmony to me in some way, but it's to serve us into looking at, this is why I'm going to say that. It's because we got the Four of Wands as the thing to embrace, and that's what gave me more information, is that we're being asked to embrace Four of Wands, which says, okay, I have pretty good foundational pieces here. I have really good centeredness. I have the Four of stability, good foundation of where I want to go. So now it's about making sure we make choices that are not going to have things topple over. It's essentially the energy of reassessing. Let's reassess. How far have we come so far? Is there any extra weight? Am I holding myself back, which is actually going to make things kind of topple over? Am I investing in things I don't really need to invest in? Am I sabotaging myself in some way? Four of Wands says lean into stability, longevity, what is going to actually hold us, and what it is we are in our creative endeavors going to hold us and be stable to be able to build even further on top. And we're letting go of the Eight of Pentacles, which again to me speaks about energy that has been expended, and we don't need to keep our head down and keep working or working as hard. Instead, we're invited to work smarter. If we lean into more of a stability factor of things that will be in the long run, as opposed to, let me just, I don't know, paycheck to paycheck is what I keep hearing. Instead, we're talking about stability. We're talking about how can I, maybe there's some investments we get to look into for the long run there, but not investments that are keeping us from stepping within our power, such as, you know what, I need to take that course before I can start doing this thing again. Or, you know what, I'm not qualified to do this, when in fact you're fully qualified. And now you're adding more things on top of this that are unnecessary. So making it lighter, working smarter, not harder. We're letting go of working so hard, working smarter. So that way we can pivot in the right direction to turn this upright in a state of harmony. So I think it's also the energy of 2025 is really going to ask us to assess how we've given our energy to the places that don't really serve us, especially as highly sensitive people. We're notorious for kind of doing that and having boundaries that really seep in or seep out, boundaries that are porous, right? So I think March is really going to be the point where we get to say, okay, wait a second. I've done all of this work. I know where I'm heading. Am I doing the same thing that has me exhausted and therefore I can't really achieve or go as far as I've always wanted? You have an opportunity in March to assess and pivot to be sure you are working from a place of stability. And Saturn, I think, is moving into Aries at some point. I think at the end of May. So that'll be interesting to see. I don't have the dates in front of me. So then I asked, what spirit wants to come in and support us in these first 3 months? And I got Ren. So I'm going to read Ren. I am Ren, the active spirit and giving heart. I am poetic inspiration. I am the energy of life and the utilization of everything this earth yields. I waste no time. I squander no resources. I am life lived to its fullest. I am the bold use of both agility and wit. You have encountered a need to stay alert. You have reason to make things move quickly now. I am your reminder that you have put things into motion and so must maintain momentum. Expand your circle and utilize those around you for help. You may find others an asset to your accomplishments. I am the determination to follow the path that lay ahead. Trust the tug of your spirit and carry onward. You are light-hearted in the face of hard work. You are joyous aspiration. You are stamina. You are Ren. Pretty awesome. So I want to go into the channeled portion of this reading and how happy I was to hear Persephone come in. And she had some really awesome things to say. And I'm going to just go into a channeling state and see if she wants to speak through, although she's given me some notes. So pardon me as I move into that. Hello, everyone. This is Persephone, and I may be presented to you as the pomegranate tree, the pomegranate itself. And it's very important that you move into 2025 embodying this energy that's available to you as not just me, Persephone, or the pomegranate, but also my mother, Demeter. The message here in full is that each of these parts is a representation of something within you. Persephone, I am that which you suppress, that which is robbed of you through suppression by others, by another force that may know the value within you and your gifts. Hades is representation of those parts, even the darker aspect within you that wishes to hide you and your gifts or whatever it is that you're feeling called to be more of. And so I am that gift that's taken into the under realms to be hidden. I'm also innocent and connected to the innocent portions of your soul. So think about that as you think about me in this first portion and for the duration of 2025. That Persephone, I am representation of your child self, the spirit, the soul, the gifts, the light. within the heart. The pomegranate itself is that as well, but it is what is found when you scavenge within you is the pomegranate and the seeds. The seeds are every single gift, every vision that you may consume and plant within your own womb to then bring forth into the world. Demeter, my mother, in this realm, in this now, she is your highest self. Not in the first portion of our story, but in the portion of the story where she seeks me. She goes into the underworld herself as light to search for these gifts, and we work together in harmony to bring the gifts forward. In your own way, you are welcome to work with me should you wish. Placing a pomegranate on your altar or consuming one in the first portion of the year. And as you consume every seed, imagine that every seed is a vision, a gift, or perhaps a part of your soul that has been scattered amongst the wombs, the rapes, the rage of others that have made you suppress yourself. You are welcome to bring it back within you by consuming the pomegranate. Thank you all for being here for this reading for the first quarter of 2025. I hope you guys are all well and healthy. If you're interested in getting a one-on-one reading with me, you're welcome to do that. There's a link in my bio. Um, as you know, I'm on Instagram. You may not know that, but as you may know, I'm on Instagram, I'm on TikTok, and this video will also be on YouTube. But links are in my bio. You can get to know me better and just stay tuned. There's more to share with you all as the year progresses. But until next time, wishing you all a happy end of 2024 and a very exciting beginning to 2025. Until next time.